Welcome, welcome, Paralympic fans. It is hotting up outside. It is hotting up in our competition inside, but we are nevertheless back at the Ice Cube. We're at the National Aquatic Centre, which has been frozen over for this week. And we are very much enjoying the round-robin stage of the wheelchair curling event here at the Paralympic Winter Games in Beijing. We are deep into the round-robin. Every game now critical in terms of qualifying for the next rounds, the semi-finals. Here come the traditional pipers.
Ladies and
today,
gentlemen,
we are going to be watching the US, who are on 2 wins versus Switzerland, who are on 1.
Let's give a round of applause to this section's competing team.
Traditional pipers welcoming the teams to the ice. Curling, of course, coming from Scotland. There's little Shui Ronron, our mascot. She loves her pipers. She's always having a little dance.
On sheet A, Sweden versus Slovakia.
Let's say hi to our teams that we'll be watching today. For the US, lead thrower is Bataillon, also Oyuna Oranchimeg.
United States of America.
Second thrower, Dave Samsa. Third thrower and vice skip, Steve Empt.
On sheet C,
Fourth thrower and skip for the US, Matthew Toombs.
People's Republic of China.
And today they are up against Switzerland. Lead thrower for Switzerland, Patrick Delacroix.
On sheet D,
Second thrower for Switzerland, François Jacquereau. Third and vice skip for Switzerland, Hans Burgener.
Games will begin shortly.
Fourth thrower and skip for Switzerland, Laurent Neubu. US, they're wearing the dark uniforms, they'll be throwing red stones. Switzerland wearing the light uniforms, white, and they will be throwing yellow stones. So as you can see, we are getting towards the business end of this round-robin stage here. Both the teams that we'll be watching today struggling a little bit. Switzerland, they will not be able to qualify anymore for semi-final, but the US still can. They are going to have to run the table from here. But they've had a couple of wins already. They're playing some good stuff out there. They're just looking for a bit of consistency. And let's see how Switzerland are doing.
Games will begin in 1 minute.
As you can see, they've had some close games.
Good luck and good curling.
Had a couple going to extra ends there, but just that one win, so they will not be able to qualify for semi-finals. But I'm sure they will want to enjoy the rest of their games here at Paralympic Winter Games, and certainly they can affect other people's competition. Still all to play for. We have 11 teams in this round-robin stage of the competition. Everyone plays everyone else for 10 games worth, and typically the magic number is 7. If you win 7 out of your 10 games, you can pretty much expect to be in the semi-finals. If you win 6 out of your 10 games, there's a good chance you can be in the semi-finals, but if you win 5 out of your 10 games, that is not very likely. So Switzerland, their best result will be 4 wins, but the US, they can still get to 6. And they'll be wanting a strong performance here to keep their semi-final hopes alive. The US has already started well. It is they who have the last stone in the first end here. So it is Switzerland starting us off with the yellow stones. And the last stone of the first end, that is decided in the pre-game practice. There you can see just between the players' heads the little flag for the US, and underneath that it says LSFE. That means last stone first end. And that is decided prior to the game. Each team has a 9-minute practice. You can do whatever you want during that 9-minute practice. And at that conclusion of those 9 minutes, each team throws one clockwise curling stone and one anti-clockwise curling stone. And whichever team cumulatively is closer to the centre, they get the choice of last stone in the first end. Technically, if you want, you could decline to have last stone in the first end, but that would be bonkers. So it is the US who were cumulatively closer, and they start off with the last stone advantage in that first end. Often call that the hammer. So Switzerland then, they will be quite happy to play to thwart the US plans.
Okay.
We're just in the first end. Score is 0-0. Nobody needs to take risks. Switzerland will be quite happy to keep things fairly simple out there. They don't want to let the US jump out to a couple of points lead already in this first end.
Good line. What is that? Good line.
Pretty about the same weight.
No,
that's a little lighter.
that's lighter. Yeah. Okay, nice. Come on, where's my girl? Where's my girl? 13-2.
13-7. Good stone, oh.
Come on, hide.
Oyuna Oranchimeg,
That's
originally
a nice
from Mongolia.
That's a nice stone.
Believe
Great
it or
correction.
not, Mongolia, they are
Feel
members
good?
of the World Curling Federation. That's not how Oyuna Oranchimeg got to curling. She started curling once she was already in the US. But yeah, she's somewhat well known in Mongolia. A lot of people now in Mongolia are aware of curling because of her. But we have yet to see Mongolian teams, I guess they would be in the Asia Pacific region, yet to see teams out there. But yeah, they are a member of the World Curling Federation. New nations joining all the time. The latest one.
Come on, see. Go, US, go now.
Check that now.
Oh, elle touche pas. J'ai cru qu'elle touchait la mienne, mais elle a juste passé.
Nigeria and Afghanistan
15-7, so
are also members. There are 67 member nations
Yeah, David.
in the World Curling Federation. Kenya was the latest one. They joined in 2021, just last year. Curling getting ever wider with its reach all the time.
That's a nice stone, Dave.
These two countries, the US and Switzerland, they've been playing curling for a long, long time now.
12-6.
12-9.
Good rock, Dave.
Sit,
Good rock.
sit. Yeah, like that, Dave. Nice job.
Nice start from the US here. Both the US and Switzerland, they have a fairly consistent record at Paralympic Winter Games. Only a couple of the players out on the ice have themselves represented at Paralympics before, but the US, they have played in every wheelchair curling competition since 2006 when the event was introduced in Torino. And Switzerland, they have played in every Paralympic Winter Games in wheelchair curling except for 2014 when they didn't qualify. But both teams have been pretty consistent representing at this level.
Je crois que c'est pas mal.
Right, that's a super reply from Switzerland.
Elle fait touk touk touk.
Françoise Jacqueau, she'll be happy with her first stones in this end. So she does catch that yellow on the way out, but importantly, look where her yellow, the shooter, look where that ended up. That's tucked in behind cover there.
You got it.
So those first stones throwing up guards there in front in the centre line. We really see now how valuable those can be.
Dig in.
Like it, Dave. 13. Come on.
This is a good response again
Goes
from
up
the
to it.
US.
Rock, Dave.
Goes you up to it.
Nice rock.
Nice, Dave.
Shot. Beautiful.
That's nice from Dave Samsa. Someone's made good use of their practice to find draw way. To draw is a stone that will land in the house.
Il va choper la
And the
garde.
house is the slightly unexpected word that you'll hear curlers using to describe those rings. Hans Burgener, his first stone in this round-robin encounter against the US. Hans was the alternate in the Swiss team in 2018. He's the only one on this current Swiss team who was already Paralympian. His second time representing at this level. And that's found the gap between those two reds, unfortunately. And
Dies, 5.
that stone
10,
travelling a
5.
little bit high.
Allez, Jans. Pas de problème.
It didn't need to be that strong with that one. Even a stone that would just follow in the US stone, a stone that would sit right in front of that.
Short. Guard it. Short's good, right?
Nice stone from US.
Pro side?
Pro side, 13-5.
I'm not sure short is so good, to be honest. Typically, if you have last stone, as the US do in this first end, you don't really want stones blocking up the centre, because your ideal is that
You got it. You're fine.
your last stone advantage, you would like a nice clear path towards the centre.
Get there.
It doesn't always work out like that, but
Get
it
there.
make a lot of sense to block your own path.
That second shot right there.
But
Nice
golly,
shot, Steve.
this is looking pretty tasty already in this first end.
C'est-à-dire qu'ils sont en dernier, c'était
Some of the teams have had an extra round than others, just because of the way the round robin is scheduled. But all the teams have played at least 6 games by now. And the teams will be getting stronger all the time. They'll be playing at least once every day, and oftentimes twice. So the quality for all the teams likely to be increasing as we get towards the business end of this round robin. So we need a good reply here from Hans Burgener from Switzerland. And it doesn't help him too much.
Même vitesse.
Ouais.
There's still space for Switzerland to come in and really try to cut down that scoring area.
Right here, huh?
Burgener stones, both of them running a little bit too heavy. You hear English-speaking countries talking about how heavy the stone is. A heavy stone, that's moving quickly.
Right on the stick.
Maybe trying to remove another stone, and a light
That's fine,
stone,
Steve.
that's moving more slowly. Maybe to land in the house or as a guard.
All right, die there.
Get over and sit.
Die
And
there.
at least in German
Die
speaking,
there.
49.
Die there.
Sit, sit,
I
sit.
can't speak for all the
Rock.
languages obviously, but you would
Rock.
talk about
Yeah, you gotta
the
work the
length of
outside
the
edge.
stone
We're fine.
rather than the weight. And you would say the stone is running
Keep it
long,
up, brother. Keep it up.
14-5.
You can do that, yeah.
or the stone is running short.
Vive encore, hein. Tu tiens Laurent, par contre. T'aurais dû
So
ouvrir
this better be
avant
good from
et
Switzerland.
prendre,
They've got themselves in a little bit of a pickle here in the first end. They had the right tactics, but not such good execution as the US, and that's why first stone for Skip, a fourth thrower, Laurent Neubühl, is a tricky one already in this first end.
Ah.
11-8.
This one's coming in hot as well.
Vite pour que ça curve.
It does get a usable stone in there, but
C'est merveilleux.
Oh,
that
sweet.
stone also usable for the
Right, you
US.
got it, buddy.
Yeah, we have two.
Yes.
Yeah,
Why
skip.
do we? Yeah, we don't want to be greedy.
No, no. Because if you let that, then they can hit roll off.
Yeah, yeah. God.
Guard.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Lock up
Yes.
for 2 and go from there.
15.
Again,
14-5. Good,
talking
yeah.
about guarding, the danger with this, assuming the US makes a
Cross
nice
side
guard
is
here,
light, maybe.
Yeah.
the danger
What do you
with
think, Al?
guarding your
Yeah,
own
cross
shots
side is
when
light, not
14-5.
Yeah.
your stones are already in the centre. For example, if Switzerland would play on the left side of the sheet as we see it, they could drive that yellow to the left of the centre line. If they drive that back into the pile of red stones, and if they get it spot on, then it will be Switzerland laying a shot with the US having guarded out front, and that's why typically
Yeah.
you wouldn't really choose this shot.
Yep. It's coming in now.
It's coming. It's coming. It'll come.
Oh, wait.
Shrink it up. Shrink it up.
We may yet see Switzerland
14-5.
having to use that stone just
Beautiful.
now on the right of our screen
That's
as
a
we
nice
see
stone,
it.
Matt. Very nice.
I'm not sure Switzerland has too many other options.
Ouais, moi, j'en sais rien. Tu veux
2,5. 13.
Ouais, moi j'essaierai par l'autre côté aussi.
Switzerland looking at damage limitation really already in this first end. US line 2. And a score of 2 in the first end, the US will be delighted with that. So whatever Switzerland can cut down, they'll be happy. This is better from Roland Knoibel, sorry. And goodness me, what a save from him.
Oui, oui.
He did manage to use the first stone that he threw
down
there.
to that one? No, we can't.
And that's not a bad demonstration of why that was a bit
Try
tactically
to come
naive from
down
the
to the
US.
yellow.
No.
No.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Hey, you can see behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, the yellow second shot.
Yeah, can I come though this turn again?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the time. Anybody get the time?
And
That
look,
12.
that stone
That
is
was the
right
12.
in front of that yellow. It's the
That
US
was a
stone they just
12-3
threw.
right there.
And that's
Yeah.
why, so that's typically not such a grand
So
idea.
probably a 13 because
You can get yourself
12-7.
into trouble
yeah.
a lot more quickly
Same
than
problem,
you
got
can
it.
get out of trouble.
Is that where they were?
Putting
Yeah.
up centre
Okay.
guards when you've got last stone. But the US, nevertheless, trying to throw something a little bit similar to what we just saw from Laurent Knoibel.
Yeah, Phil.
Heavier.
Let's see if there's space,
You can give it that.
if that stone can still curl. The US lying 1 at the moment.
Here it comes.
Dive. Dive.
12-3.
Dive.
The weight is
Dive.
there.
Come on.
Weight is there.
A little hot. One red.
All right.
Okay.
Good end.
And that
One
had
red.
to be very, very precise. Good try
Right,
from
good
Matthew
guys.
Toombs. But yeah, that was a bit tactically naive from the US.
Kind of nice.
They won the race to the centre, but then
Use that guard
they
out a
were
little farther.
Yeah.
Good end.
caught up in trying to guard that and paid for it in the end because they
Up
bought
1
themselves
second
out
in
of being
without.
able to score 2. So just 1 to the US. After 1 end, the US leads Switzerland 1 shot to 0.
Là, ça va faire peur.
So after 1 end then, Switzerland getting away with a few little slips there. The really fine final stone from Laurent Knoibel. limiting the US to 1 stone. They lead Switzerland 1 shot to 0 after 1 end.
13-5-0.
Good one.
So the US will be a little bit disappointed. They had last one in that first end, but didn't quite make good tactical use of it.
14-14.
And ended up paying for that. They blocked themselves out to get a second
All right, now,
stone.
you're about 2 feet out, foot and a half out.
Okay.
Yep.
But that's a super start from
Drop one around it.
Oyuna Oranjemeg.
Forget that. Split the arm.
If you're a US fan, you might say, doesn't look like a very good start. But that's not what Coach Muscle Schreiber will be saying. He'll be happy with that start from the US team. All of that white area in front of the rings. That is called the free guard zone. And opposition not allowed to remove your stones from play while they're in that area out front
Oui, très vite,
until
même.
5 stones have been played. And of course that's coming in hot for Switzerland. That's just going straight through. That will not get good marks from their coach, Stefan Pfister. So that first shot from Oyuna Oranjemeg, just a couple of stones width out
Line's great.
from the rings, from the house. Not allowed to be removed from
I
play,
like
and
it.
now she has the opportunity to
I like
put a
it.
stone around the
13.
back of it. Her line is just perfect. Is this one going to stop?
Sit.
I think it is.
Okay, yeah, that's on.
That's a fine start from Oyuna Oranjemeg.
Next one, you go.
Guys, press at me.
That one is behind the tee line. That's the horizontal line through the rings there. And that does give Switzerland space to follow. Patrick de la Casse has his first stone just running through. He will
Patrick.
need to make an adjustment,
Papa
but
veut
this
crier
one
12-3.
looking a little bit high as well.
Je vais la mettre dehors. Et
Luckily
vite
for
quand même.
Switzerland, there was that US stone to
Il
catch
l'a pas
it.
mis dehors. Mais c'est doux.
Take it out, you want to draw? I don't mind the draw.
Are they what?
Yeah, we got the drop pat down.
Yeah.
13-5. 13-5, dude. Feels like it, right, O?
So a little bit
Yeah.
unorthodox tactics so far.
Yes, normal
A little bit
13-5.
more like in the mixed doubles discipline. You might have watched that a few weeks ago
As a
at
glide.
Olympic Winter Games. That's when you start with 2 stones placed already, 1 guard out front and 1 stone just behind tee line. And that's a bit of a race to the centre, and both of our ends so far looking a little bit like that.
That's definitely lighter. Come on. Go and hide. Go and hide.
Come on.
Both the
Yep,
teams happy with this clockwise path for the stone towards the centre.
13-3.
Very nice.
That's good stone, Dave. That's good stone.
That's more like it.
Hide.
There you go.
Very nice.
There you go.
We gotta
Very nice.
Super weight.
bring them in a little bit.
Just the
With
paddle.
that weight, yep.
That's right
Where
in
was it,
the
middle?
4-foot circle. That's the red one.
Neuf.
Curling, of course, invented long before the metric system.
Fix, Angst.
And just out of habit, and because it's kind of easiest to understand, you will still hear curlers of all nations talking about the 12-foot circle. That's the blue one. The 8-foot circle is the white one, and the all-important 4-foot circle is the red one. And even though most places are now fully metric,
C'est rouillé.
Non, non.
That's plus de glace.
curling remains a bit of a hybrid. It's difficult to change hundreds of years of habit.
Dans l'autre.
Il voulait.
So that's okay. That was the 6th stone
Same line, a little shorter.
Yeah,
total.
just up in here.
So free guard zone is
Same
over.
room.
And that's actually not a bad
14.
result for Switzerland.
14, sir.
That's not quite what they meant to do. I think they were going for the shot stone, the one in the 4-foot from the US, but they've removed that centre guard, which helps Switzerland, and they got a nice little roll away towards the wings, that yellow stone on the right of our screen. So actually that worked out okay for Switzerland. We saw what can happen in the first end if you have last stone but you get sucked into playing all your stones towards the centre. You can end up getting in a bit of a pickle and blocking yourself out, and that's why Switzerland, they don't mind if they have a chance. They would be glad to put a couple of stones away from the
That's a
centre.
great stone, Dave. That's a great stone, Dave.
Yes,
That's a beauty.
But before Switzerland does anything, they're going to have to do something about these US stones. That's some nice throwing from Dave Samsa.
Take out.
Two good stones from him.
Take out.
Ouais.
Change.
Neuf. Neuf.
Tu veux un take out à 9?
9.
OK.
Il n'y a pas trop de glace, hein, quand même.
Switzerland don't want to get sucked into playing everything towards the centre, so they're happy to remove this US stone from the centre, and they would love to roll a bit to the left. And she's played that perfectly.
Super, Fanny.
That is really nice stuff from Françoise Jacquereau. You can see the difference that's made. So there's a nice angle. With her first stone, Jacquereau managed to roll to our right. And with her second stone, she hit and rolled also to the right. And now there's a lovely Swiss stone safely tucked in behind that guard. Difficult for the US to do anything about it. And really nice setup now for Switzerland. And that's the difference between getting sucked into playing towards the centre and maybe getting yourself in a bit of a mess and trying to keep the centre clear. Setting up stones away from the centre instead.
Sorry, go down and set him for 2. I'm sorry, 2.
No, that's gone.
That's right, get in there for 2.
14-4.
14-2.
Good way, good way.
Good way, good way.
And big opportunity here for Switzerland.
Take
All
out.
right, all right, get
They want to be a little bit careful of that yellow behind. They're just next to the left of Laurent Knoibül. They want to be a little bit careful not to just squirt that red straight back onto that yellow. But good opportunity here for Switzerland to capitalise on that mistake from the US.
Non, non, non. 9-4.
I got you,
Sur ça, Pierre.
Not like that, they won't go.
Il joue avec.
I get second count in.
Okay?
Right here would be great.
Okay? I got you.
Touching the 8-foot. 1, 2. We're sitting third shot right now.
Now this makes sense for the US to target the centre.
Do I need another 5 feet?
Another 5 feet of what you had, yeah.
The US happy to start blocking that path for Switzerland. It's Switzerland who now have last stone. It's Switzerland who, they really need to be doing the work to build an end, to build stones. And actually, they had it set up quite nicely with that nice setup on the left of our screen as it's coming up. But not managing to take advantage of
13.
half shot from the US.
Easy. Get over. Get over.
They're going to be punished for that, I think.
I like it. I like it.
US have jumped out the blocks with draw weight really in their pocket.
Vous êtes mis prêts?
The draw is a stone that will land in the house, in the rings. And yeah, the US team very consistent with that, these first 2 ends. So Switzerland, I'm not sure they will have the chance to use that nice yellow set up by Jacquereau on the edge of the rings. But first things first, they need to make sure they have a chance to score even 1 point at the moment.
12-2. Ils ont encore un.
Ouais, mais 12-2.
Get the inside, it'd be sitting 3, but then we might mess with that there and push that off. He's not going to get here. You know, we come here, pro side up here.
You take that out.
Not going to
No,
touch
that's
it.
not going to do.
No, we're stealing one here. That's all we need.
No, we just guard.
We'll
What
be
is it?
exchanging, yeah.
Yeah, if I come
No, I
up,
think we're here, right?
that's where I hear for your
Right,
draw.
what do you
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
is?
Center guard.
Guard.
We're here. You got it, bud.
Center
13.
guard.
Pro side is short.
Yep.
Would you have my time?
Yeah.
Got what was Dave or Steve's time
Just
on
match it. You got it.
Steve's time was 13.
13 on the last one, yeah.
Yeah.
What is
It
guarding?
was 13-2 on your draw.
Or guarding, right?
Then we're coming down to our guarding.
I don't want to be.
You can hear the
13-5.
I like that number.
US team discussing timing of the stones. They're discussing how long it takes a stone to travel between the two hog lines. That's
We want to come in the house.
thick
or-
horizontal red line,
Okay.
a little bit away from the rings there. So the stone has to be released at the other end. When you're throwing, the stone has to be released before the hog line, and it has to travel over the hog line at the other end to be in play. And meanwhile,
I like
you will
that throw,
see a
Matt.
lot of the athletes with a stopwatch,
I like it.
timing how long it takes for
Like it a
a
lot.
stone to travel between those two lines. And
13-2.
there you are. That's a team's communicating
beauty,
13.2.
Very
13.2
nice.
seconds to travel
beauty.
between
Gonna go
those hog
anywhere.
lines, and that's exactly enough speed to get to the centre there.
Super.
And that's found a really great spot for the US. I'm not sure.
Take out here.
I'm not sure Switzerland can remove both of those US stones without jamming on their own yellow
Ces gens-là.
just behind the T line there.
Là, il faut que le pousser. Ils ont aussi les... Nous, on a les sticks où on doit tout faire. Rotation, tout. Bon, tu t'occupes, hein?
Oui.
Moi, je regarde le ballon, là.
Oui. Tu prends la vitesse en même temps.
Ben oui, je fais tout, les deux.
Three stones left to come, including this one then. First stone for Swiss skip Laurent Knoibel.
Look it up.
Je dis rien, mais... Non, non, mais je...
Only Switzerland are not finding that line
Le tempo, c'est bon.
on that clockwise handle.
Ça revient pas.
And US definitely having a brighter start in this game already. And yes, Switzerland don't need to be throwing these big weights actually. They just need to move stones around a bit. It's important
You want
that
to come in here.
the Swiss stones
You want to come in with a heavy draw.
land in the house as well.
Why don't I just shoot the
They want
same
to move
shot?
some US stones around, but they
I'm
need
all right
to
with
sit
that.
as well.
Square has you right here in the middle.
So Switzerland, they don't
You got
need
it.
all that weight at the moment.
This
They're
is 13-2.
All right.
13-5.
13-2 is coming.
kind of overthrowing a little bit, and
Pro side short.
Yeah.
the US will surely be playing the same again as they just played.
Nice. Nice.
Same weight. I like it. Knock it off, Dave.
I know what you're doing.
13.
13.
Nice.
Get enough
Sounds
of it.
like
Get
it
enough of it. Get
took
enough of it. Get enough of it.
About the
Get off
same
of there.
time to travel, and it does. And
Yes,
look at
sir.
that. Now the US
Beauty,
are lying
Matt.
3 behind that centre guard, right in that forefoot.
Now we got
I
this.
think they're only gonna.
Volley!
Balai, et puis presque un 8 en bas, là.
Again, then damage limitation for here for Switzerland.
Oh, c'est bon.
I'm not sure there's any way for Switzerland to get a shot here. I think they just have to try and remove as many US counters as they can. He doesn't like it. I think he's popped that wide again.
Relève la chaîne.
And that's not going to come back.
Au balai. Par contre, tempo, bon. 8-3.
And strong play from the US in that second end. And a few misses there from Switzerland, and that is a big steal of 3 for the US in that second end. They continue their strong start in this game, and they lead 4 shots to 0 after 2 ends.
She started laughing. No,
2-5-3 with the exact same weight. Same.
There's our game summary, and indeed that's exactly what we're seeing out in the ice. The US have really found their weight nice and quickly in these first 2 ends. They've been playing only draws, only the aggressive stuff, but Switzerland making too many misses at the moment. They really need to tighten that up before they don't want to let the US start running away with this game. The US leading Switzerland after 2 ends, 4 shots to 0.
You're just going to be about ready to rock and roll.
You're good.
Yep. All right.
13-5.
US skip Matthew Toombs again, just communicating the timing of the stone to his colleagues. So if your stone takes 13.5 seconds
It's in the house.
to travel between the hog lines,
All right.
if you listen, you
that.
might hear the
I
beep
like
of the
it all.
stopwatch.
Come on. 13-3.
There we
Nice
go.
job, Oyuna. Great
Nice
start.
shot.
And you know that if
Nice shot.
the time between the hog lines, if that matches what you're aiming for, then you can pretty much
13-3.
say that
So
the stone is going to make it to
Yes.
the target.
I was aiming for 13-5.
Another strong start from Oyuna Oranchemik. She's really set up these early ends very well for the US. And Switzerland sort of really struggling at both ends at the moment. They're not really finding good places for their first stones, their first few stones, and
12-9.
their back end struggling a little bit to make anything of it as well.
Deep breath to the broom, fall through. You got it. Miss Nana.
That looks like a decent stone
Is that the intern or outside?
for Switzerland, but actually they needed that shorter. That needed to be
Got
in
it all.
that free guard zone in front of the house. As you can see, the US, the brush
You got it
goes
all.
immediately down
To the broom.
close to that stone. And Oyuna Oranchemik, she can go ahead and remove this immediately, whereas if that stone was in front of the rings, it would be protected by free guard zone. The US would not be allowed to remove it yet.
Come on. Come on, walk for me. Walk for me. Walk for me. Come on.
Coming.
Little bit.
All right.
And she's got enough of
Hit
it.
8.
That's fine.
Way to smoke it out.
Yeah, that way. I should have corrected you.
The US plus 4 points. They've got a good cushion just now.
Pointing 2 out. I was thinking the other turn.
And just this nice clean tactic. Let's just remove Switzerland's stones when we can. Let's just keep it clean. The US don't need to take risks at this stage in the game. They don't need to play very aggressive. They've already scored 4 points. It's up to Switzerland to start making use of their last stone advantage. They need to set up their ends better, and they need to then use that setup to generate some more offense. They're not quite found their weight yet, Switzerland, and the US seem to have found their weight immediately. And again, better for Switzerland would be if that stone was actually in front. It's not a bad shot. It's in the 8 foot, the white circle.
T'es au balai? Good balai?
But that's not what Switzerland need right now. Switzerland
me,
need
Dave.
those stones out front. They need those stones to be protected by free guard zone. They still need those stones to be hanging around. They don't want the US to just be able to remove the stone immediately, which is what the US are allowed to do, because that stone is in the house rather than out front. Second thrower, Dave Samsa then being asked to directly remove that stone.
8-8.
No trouble there.
Nicely done, Dave.
And he does
Nicely done.
sit
Not a
with
fighter.
his own shooter as well. No trouble removing that Swiss stone, getting a nice little roll to the other side of the house. And that's all that's needed for the US. They just have to keep it simple.
Pour plus de glace, non?
Oui.
Now, in contrast, Switzerland, they can't really afford to just hit stones out. If Switzerland start removing US stones, then we've seen the US, they're quite happy to just keep things simple, just remove Swiss stones. Switzerland need to start generating some offense here. And they're going to make their life a bit difficult if they're just removing stones. So again, that's not a bad shot, but Switzerland are 4 points behind. They need to generate offense. They need to keep stones in play.
Yeah.
And they're not really giving that yellow a chance to stay in play. What the better idea would be to just nudge up against that US stone. You don't have to remove it at this stage. And if you would just freeze, if that yellow would freeze against that red stone, not remove it, but just bump up against it, that would give that yellow a little bit of backing. At the moment, it's pretty straightforward for the US to go ahead and remove it. And that's not what Switzerland needs. Switzerland needs to keep stones in play here.
Great delivery, Dave.
Or they're not going to be grabbing points back with this kind of tactic.
8-5.
But luckily for them, the curling gods are giving them a second chance.
A little hot and a little out.
Come on.
They have got away with it.
We gotta hit that. It's gonna be a 9.
Yes.
Plus. Alors, plus de glace.
Steve Empt, already a Paralympian, and we've been seeing him all week really, just constantly offering encouragement and support to his teammates, really using that experience to guide the US team here this week.
C'est bien. Ça aurait pu être bien.
Oh, this is fine, says teammate Patrick de l'Arcataz.
9.
It isn't quite fine though. It would be fine if that yellow had hung around and we had 2 Swiss stones in the rings, but now
9.
we only have 1 Swiss stone in the ring and not for very much longer.
Smidgen.
Nope.
Darn stone. Sorry, not mine.
That's me, Matt. Sorry. I got the next one.
9-2.
From a 10.
And another mistake from Switzerland. The curling gods are giving them every chance to sort themselves out there.
Yeah, no worries. I got it.
That stone over curling for Steve Empt.
13,5.
You may have noticed here that in wheelchair curling, there's less opportunity to adjust your throw. So you really have to set up and line up really on target in non-wheelchair curling. We drive out of the hack. That's the little black gripper, rubbery part at the back of the rink, and we are using leg power to drive out of the hack. But we still have 2 or 3 seconds until we release the stone, so if you're not quite accurate on the brush, or if you've pushed out a little bit too hard or not hard enough, you've still got 2 or 3 seconds to do something about it. Whereas with stick delivery, you have that one flowing push of the stick and that's it. And I think that may have caught Steve Empt out the previous time, that was just curling away as soon as he released it, but I'm sure he'll adjust that now.
Back. Come on back. Got out on it.
Not curling.
You got out on it.
9.
Who was that?
Huh?
Was on?
You got out on it.
How far?
3.
Golly. Who knew that a stone right on that centre line would be so difficult to remove?
Il n'y a pas de supporters suisses aujourd'hui.
Mets-toi bien pour voir.
Hiding in plain sight at the moment. that Swiss stone, and you are not going to get many more chances here, Switzerland. This needs to be better. This needs to hang around.
Yeah.
You can use that stone in front. Yeah, you could push it behind. You could push it side. That's fine. But this we have to have 2 stones lying after this shot, and now we do.
If they don't get a hit and roll, or just hit it. That's what we're worried about.
Yeah, we hit the
Just hit
and
it.
roll.
9.
You got it.
Not worried about
Bring it home,
no
Skip.
roll.
Yeah, forget about the top one.
Yep.
Actually, the better idea is to not forget about the top one.
Just make it gone, right?
The better idea would be to anyway go for the double takeout,
Had a little smoke on mine.
and then you would almost certainly remove the front one, and then you would have either space to work with, or you might have a US stone lying in the front, which you could punch back a little bit. So
9.
not
9.
a terrible idea, this shot. But with this first stone,
Good throw.
could have been wise to try the double takeout. But as we said, because with the stick
Nice.
delivery and with wheelchair delivery,
There you go.
the degree of difficulty for every stone in wheelchair curling is just that little bit higher compared with non-wheelchair. Another big difference, of course, is that there's no sweeping. So again, once that stone's on its way, not only can you not adjust it as a thrower, but you don't have sweepers who can try to help either. So your sweepers, they can drag a stone a bit further. So if a stone is running out of gas, then your sweepers can coax the stone a little bit further down, and they can also work to affect the direction of the stone. They can sweep to try to hold the stone straight, to try to stop it curling, and they can sweep to, if the stone has already caught a piece of the curl, they can sweep to try to encourage the stone to curl a bit more. And all of that not available in wheelchair curling, and that simply increases the level of difficulty of each stone. So sometimes because of that, we will perhaps see more conservative tactics in wheelchair curling, because a high-risk shot in non-wheelchair curling is even higher risk in wheelchair curling. And occasionally,
Like the outside in.
a fairly obvious shot in non-wheelchair curling is actually easier to get in a different
I like
way
this way.
if you're a wheelchair deliverer.
What do you like?
You just threw.
The way we just threw, okay.
Yeah, I like the way that we just came.
Yeah, we know that. You got it. I got
Yeah,
it.
you got it.
9.
9.
The US seem to be happy to keep going for the stone behind rather than the stone in front. I think their idea is that they would love to roll back towards that centre line and maybe even hide in behind that yellow.
A little bit outside.
No way.
Curling.
Okay, the weight is there.
Work. More.
Come back.
More. Gotta go more. Gotta go more. Gotta go more. Gotta go more.
You got it. You got it.
9-8.
Encouraging the stone to curl.
Okay.
And he
9-7.
does roll left, but he's going to roll a bit too far left
Alright,
and all
that's
the way
okay.
Under
out.
through it. That one, maybe.
So rather, to everyone's surprise, I think Switzerland do have a chance to put 2 on the board here, and they certainly need to. They have their own stone there that they can play towards. That's often a good idea. If you already have a stone in the house, then you can aim somewhere near that, just in case the stone's travelling on, and then
Patrick!
they
Ah
can
non, c'est bon. Ah, j'ai cru que t'étais... Ouh, j'ai cru que
touch that stone and remove some of the energy. I think that might be what's about to happen here. Indeed. And that's nicely done. Good last stone there from Lohan Neubühl, and that's an important score of 2 for Switzerland. They needed that nice strong reply.
That was on me.
Bon, 2.
Bien joué.
Nevertheless, after 3 ends, the US, they lead Switzerland 4 shots to 2.
Yeah, no
Three.
three, no
Yeah,
three
that's
in a
on me.
row.
That won't happen again.
Yeah.
Me first. No,
So it's your fault then. That's on you.
Yeah. Yes.
An important score of 2 then for Switzerland in our overall game statistics. They can't let the USA start running away with this, but still the USA out shooting Switzerland, but we got a couple of mistakes there again from the US in that third end, and that just allowed Switzerland to hang on and play a really nice stone from Laurent Knoibul to score 2 with his final stone in second end. Last stone then returns to the US in the fourth end. This is we're approaching the halfway. After this fourth end, we shall have the halftime pause.
Garage.
C'est 12-4.
Trop long, putain, mais
Elle rentre bien profond.
Patrick de Lacroix hasn't quite found his weight yet in this first half of the game. He's overthrowing at the moment.
What was that right there?
Huh?
What was that?
12-6. 13-0.
13.
You got
Again,
it,
There you go, same wine.
the players just communicating with each other how long a stone needs to take, how long it should take to travel between the two different hog lines. Onanchumek having a really strong tournament, actually very consistent with her stones for this US team.
A little hot.
Yeah.
A little hot.
Oh, not bad. Or is that what you're telling
You see
the
that
split
she
time?
has that
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad.
It must
small
be slowing down
handle
then.
It's
for
coming.
her non-throwing arm
slowing
just to
way
hold
down.
on to for balance and stability.
13-6.
13-6.
You see a few of the players have that, but apart from
You're
that,
That's good.
there's
That's good shot, oh.
no special equipment needed for wheelchair curling. If you're a wheelchair user or you have a friend or colleague
Slowing down a little
who
bit.
would like to try curling, then you absolutely can. You don't need a special wheelchair for sport, and you can see some of the players, they have that little handle for balance, but not all. You certainly don't need any modifications just to start learning. And the delivery stick that we see all the wheelchair players using, the curling club will already have that. You certainly don't need to provide your own. So even if you're the only wheelchair user at your curling club, it's not a problem. At this level, there are certain differences at this highest level between wheelchair curling and not, but at the club level, at hobby level, those differences really not very pronounced.
C'était le risque, hein.
Maintenant, c'est le
It's
rouge qui est
perfectly normal that everyone
That's a great
plays
call,
together,
Skip.
men and women, wheelchair throwers and not.
13, it's solid 13.
13.
There are some standing curlers who also use stick delivery if you have maybe more limited mobility in your legs or in your knees. Stick delivery,
Got it all.
that can be a solution for that. So curling really very inclusive. We have men and women always in a team at this level. That's one of the rules in wheelchair curling. You must have at least one man and at least one woman in your
Right on
team.
the stick, oh.
And certainly at the club,
Don't hide now.
it
Don't
doesn't
hide.
really make a big difference if you're a wheelchair user, stick thrower,
Come on, work. Yep, yep.
Water's fine. Come on, water's
standing
fine.
curler.
That's
It
a nice
really doesn't
arm
make a difference. Everyone can play together.
Get it. Get it. Get it. That's beauty, oh.
Warming up, Dave.
So don't be shy.
Warm it up, Dave.
You're a wheelchair user, or maybe your friend or a colleague is and would like to try curling,
Tu fais pareil?
there is nothing to stop you. You would be most welcome at the curling club.
Turn the one up.
13.
13. Oh. 12,5.
12,5.
Dat is langzaam 13. 12,5.
12,5, 13.
Françoise Jacquereau He's probably had the best of the first half for the Swiss team. Switzerland really lacking a bit of consistency in the first half of this game, though. They will need to tighten up a bit, and that stone, that's going to sail past. That's not going to help them.
You can get rid of this yellow one.
May have been
There we go.
better
I don't
off
think that yellow one's a threat.
I don't think so. Or are we going to
going the
drop it right
clockwise
here?
handle there rather than
They're
the
gonna come this way.
anti-clockwise, and
You got the intern too?
exactly, because if Switzerland
Yeah,
don't, then the
we
US
can go
will.
this way.
Yeah. Even if I'm short, I'm okay.
He's pointed out to you,
Yep.
Yeah,
but we know his line.
This line will be the same. We've been
the
throwing it.
same. It's 13.
Let's go right here.
Yeah.
I threw that one.
Little
13?
deja vu.
13.
No tunnel vision.
No tunnel.
You got
13.
this.
Get a hold of him.
In the house, Dave. 13.
You got it, Dave.
I forgot my job.
The players just making sure they're set up to throw.
No,
Oyuna Oranchimeg
Normal 13.
Yes.
gripping the wheels for teammate Dave Samsa, so that they're nice and steady, they don't slip when they're delivering.
Good line.
And then Steve Empt in the background with the
6,
stopwatch,
good split, gotta go.
Good split.
Walk on it.
Good split.
Little light.
always timing the
Come on.
I
stones.
think he's
On
gonna
the
walk though. It's
pop-up.
the third stone down that path.
Come
So.
and play. Come
Oh
and
yeah, I
play.
like it. 13-2. Great weight, David.
Come on. Go high.
Height.
Great weight,
Go high.
Dave.
Go.
Sit.
Just behind Button.
What was that?
This needs to be good from Switzerland. It's the US who had last stone advantage in this fourth end just before half-time. There's still space for Switzerland to squeeze another stone in if they just follow exactly what the US just played. That looks like the signal from Laurent Knoibül.
Pas mal.
No bad, he says. It's important this stone really finds a good spot, and I think it has. So Francois Jacquereau
Super.
continuing to be the MVP for Switzerland.
Same
I like
ball.
ripping it now.
You good with that?
And the US have
Go on,
been
I'll start stacking them in
getting
here.
away with
Yep.
some
C'est moi qui ai fait.
rather fanciful tactics because Switzerland have not really been punishing them for it. But yeah, the
You got it.
US still a little bit tactically
Into the
naive
rope.
at times,
Deep breath, follow through.
getting away with it, but at the higher level, you won't get away with those kind of tactics all the time. You're not going to get that many mistakes from your opposition.
It's a great throw. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there.
Yep.
Stay there. Stay there. Yes, Dave. Very nice. Very nice,
nice.
Dave.
Good shot, Dave. Thank you.
Nice peel.
And that might have been a wiser move
Beautiful
with the
stone.
previous stone, even though Steve Empt said that stone wasn't a threat. So it wasn't at the time, but
C'est moi.
it became a threat once Switzerland were able to sneak a stone in. So that little yellow, it's a little bit lonely in there. There are 3 reds lying next. So Switzerland lying first shot, the US lying 2, 3, and 4. But it certainly found a good spot, that yellow. And this needs to put its brakes on.
Beat hard.
Right on the nose.
Got it.
9.
I think it is possible.
9 or
There is a
5-3-8?
double takeout possible
5 and
here.
3/8, yeah.
You tell me.
Yes.
Okay.
That stone running on a little bit too far.
it in.
Steve Empt being asked for
That in.
takeout. He's been
off?
pretty accurate with the takeouts
Why am I stones taking off?
so
was
far.
8-5.
Just pinched it a
So
little
far,
bit.
but yeah,
Yeah, just pad in.
that one though.
Pat in.
8
Sorry, he's been very
seconds,
accurate with the
right
draws so far, but struggling a bit more with the takeouts. And
Ben, change pas tout le temps, Laurent.
again, it can be harder when you're using that stick delivery. You're only using upper body strength as well, not the leg drive, as with non-wheelchair curling.
Pas à droite, une fois à gauche, c'est pas bon ça.
And yeah, Steve Empt finding that his
14.
heavier stones, the ones travelling faster, they're not quite finding the line that they're expecting. But that was a good plan B for the US. They got something out of it because they removed the stone that was in front. It was blocking access. So this has to be good again from Switzerland.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But they found a really nice line there. Hans Burgener also struggling a bit with his game in this first half.
Yeah.
But that's a lot better from him. That's exactly the kind of setup that Switzerland would want without last shot in the fourth end here. That's exactly what Switzerland are looking for.
hold
They
on.
have one stone covering the logo.
Yeah. You got it.
They don't really need to be greedy at the moment. They don't really need to be lying to and taking more risks. At the moment, they've got one stone looking quite nice and safe in there. And that's good enough for now.
On the broom.
Nice field, Steve. Nice field.
Thank you.
That's better from Steve Empt. That'll settle his nerves a bit. Nice clean peel of the guard. A peel means that you also roll out.
Parfait.
Non. On va lui dire qu'il a fait 14-5.
Ouais.
Parfait. Il garde pas.
And Switzerland looking for
Tu fais
copy-paste
une
here.
garde?
Ouais.
Ben,
They want to
14
replace that guard.
Celle-là. Qu'elle soit parfaite.
Stone placement, very important here. They need this guard in just the right spot. If this guard is too far away from the rings, there will be space for the US to go around the back of everything. If this guard gets too close to the stones in the house, then the US can potentially play a takeout on all three. So stone placement really important here for Laurent Knoibel with his first throw. This looks pretty nice.
14-8, ça peut être bien, ça.
C'est nickel.
Ah, c'est
That is really nice. They have absolutely just replaced that guard out front.
C'est la même.
Faut pas
This is much better from Switzerland.
Ah oui.
On a qu'un.
Mais tu sais qu'ils sont pas très forts au take-out. T'as vu, ils sont jamais au balai.
They can run
There's a
double.
big screen behind the athletes. That's why you will sometimes see people turning around and looking up.
You leave it up here, they rip it.
Down to it, yeah.
The big screen has the overhead of what's going on in the house,
come
where all the
this way.
stones are.
On that side.
And hit it.
Yeah.
That's a danger there.
Half the button is available.
So then let's draw down to it, plug it up.
Even if he left it out, I mean, he can kind of nose.
So I'm going to take one hit on that side.
That yellow.
The right shot
something
here
up there.
is to
Huh?
remove
Yeah,
the guard
no, it
again.
I mean,
seems
like,
hard.
the first one was a jaw.
I don't think so.
And then
I think we plug it
whatever
up and then
Switzerland
draw
do with
the
their
button.
last stone,
Plug it up.
Right?
Yeah, we got to plug
you're
that up.
unlikely to lose more than one.
Yeah,
Looks like
I
we
mean,
can
time's fine. We don't need that.
Yeah.
I would try to
Yeah, I just plugged it up and draw the button.
He's one
Yeah.
of the two guys trying to do here.
Okay.
I thought they were showing on the other jaw, though. But he's trying to go to the inside.
Yeah, you could kind of do that.
Sneaker in there?
No,
We've
we
seen
got
the US get in a bit
See,
of
they
trouble
can-
before,
Reel it in.
No, they could. All they have to do is come around and pop that yellow.
placing centre guards when they've got last stone.
You're
Plug
going to
it
try
up.
to...
Plug it up.
They've been getting away with it because
Yep.
Switzerland have not been very consistent so far in this game, but Switzerland starting to find a bit of rhythm now in this fourth end.
Like a heavy draw, or?
No, I'm guarding it.
Oh, okay.
Until I can't get
Yeah, I'm
that.
guarding. Yeah, I'm guarding.
I see.
15.
15,
Yep.
14, 5. 15.
Matthew Toombs having a decent game, but from time to time, really going for the wrong shot, the US at the moment.
Need it out more.
It's fine.
16.
So that's all well and good, but now Switzerland can also come down the clockwise handle, the other side, the right side of the ice as we are looking at it. And there is space for them to get a second stone in. Yeah, exactly as they're indicating.
But if you leave it
Why
out,
would you? I mean, they all they.
got it. They're just got
Huh?
it.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think
Stealing
they,
it, too.
yeah, they want to.
Oh, for who?
They want to steal.
You could even just punch that yellow forward, depending on how much the stone curls. You could either try to get to the logo directly, or if it's curling a lot, you could try and punch that other yellow forward just a few centimetres, and you could be lying too. And again, the US will realise that they have
Ouais,
blocked
ça
themselves
m'embête,
out.
mais,
Trop long.
I'm not sure if this has got the beans to
14-1.
get there, but that's found a decent spot because now both sides are blocked. And the US not really learning from the first end, where they also had last stone.
You could fit through there.
You
got
could
it.
draw
US
it.
again discovering that all paths to the centre are blocked when they have last stone.
No, the port's not there,
They
Dave.
could have gave you another 8 inches.
Port's not there.
I know, I know.
It never was there because we don't want to jam and give them.
So draw the,
13-2.
You got it, Skip.
get a bite of the button.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to touch the other rock.
Okay.
Very difficult throw here for Matthew Toombs. But as we saw in the first end, the US being a little bit quick to shut an end down before the last stone, actually. And
Great weight.
for strategy and tactics, there are typically
Great weight, he says.
sound and sensible
Ah.
reasons why
Chip
you
that.
don't want to play towards the centre when you
Yeah,
have
it's
last
slowing
shot.
down.
Just.
13-7.
13-8.
But I think that was a
One
little
yellow.
bit shy for weight anyway, that stone. That wasn't going to make it to
guys.
the tee line
So
there,
that's what I'm gonna
and
do.
that was a lot more consistent from Switzerland, and their reward is that they have picked up a steal. They scored even without last stone. They have picked up a steal of 1 point
One
going
point.
into half-time.
Ça fait une, hein? C'est bien.
Tip top.
Ah, super. On monte.
There's confirmation that after the fourth end, a little bit of a resurgence just starting from Switzerland, but the US still leads Switzerland 4 shots to 3. That's our local fans in the arena. They're cheering for the local Chinese team as well. There's the overall numbers for the US. They're throwing pretty well compared with their tournament average, but not quite throwing the right shots at the moment. They're making their own life a little bit difficult, so let's see what their coach has to say.
Time-wise, guys, I don't think there's any issues whatsoever. I do not understand how we keep running our clocks down so much lower than everybody else's, but it's definitely
like you're playing fast.
Yeah, yeah, and you're losing about 30 seconds an end is what I was seeing on there. But you're okay. Time is not going to be an issue in this game whatsoever. 18 minutes to play your 4 ends. You're going to be in great shape. So, but do keep that in the back of your head.
And there's the numbers for Switzerland. They're having a bit of a tough tournament already and throwing about as well as they have all week. And starting to find a bit of a rhythm now. They had a slow start, but starting to pick up some good stones now. Let's see what their coach has to say.
C'était fait mon schlimm, oder?
Ja,
c'est pas terrible, non?
Ah, une minute. Premier end, je pense.
Ouais, voilà.
C'est bon.
Non,
c'est pas si mal.
premier end, on s'est fait agglutiner derrière.
Ouais, il aurait fallu ouvrir.
Il aurait fallu ouvrir plus
Il aurait fallu ouvrir au premier end.
Il est sorti avec un.
There's our overall game comparison. The Swiss numbers starting to catch up a little bit with the US numbers. The US are definitely still out-throwing Switzerland, but the US were getting away with some suicidal tactics really in the first half of this game, and they're going to need to learn from that. They're going to have to notice that when they have last stone, it has not helped them to play towards the centre. And Switzerland, they will need to focus on just pushing those numbers up a little bit. They want a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more consistency.
Mad at me?
No.
They're going for the right shots. So an interesting battle out there. The US are throwing better, but not always quite calling the right shot, not quite giving themselves the best chance, whereas the Swiss, they're going for the right shots, but just lacking a little bit accuracy at the moment. So let's see who can pull themselves together quick enough.
We have to keep our eye on this game.
Yes.
We're not going to have to worry about what's going on with it.
No.
Okay. That's what I was just told.
This sheet, your stone.
On n'a pas le marteau.
Hammer.
On a le hammer. C'est pas nous qu'on a le hammer.
Non, on n'a pas le balai.
Confirmation there that steal of 1 point in the fourth end. A nicely played fourth end from Switzerland, starting to find a bit of a groove now. They steal a point in the fourth end, and they're right back in this game. It's 4 points to 3, the US leading Switzerland. Lead thrower Patrick de Lacretas. He was struggling a little bit to set out the ends for Switzerland in the first half of the game, and he'll really be needing to tighten that up a little bit.
C'est dedans.
Désolé.
And again, he's not quite finding the free guard zone. That's not a bad shot. It is in the rings.
Yep, no, it looks good.
But at this stage in the end, just the first few stones being thrown, and depending on how the score is, Switzerland would really prefer that stone to be protected by the free guard zone. They would really rather that stone was a little bit shorter outside the rings.
Yep.
It's an important difference. Oyuna Oranchimeg.
9-9, great
She
weight.
can go ahead
Nice
and
job.
just remove that stone. And if that stone had just been a couple of stone lengths shorter, a little bit further out of the rings, it would have been safe from US attack there.
Ça curle pas au milieu.
10, ça pas 8. Parce que alors ça
It is the US who have last stone in this fifth end. They are +1. Just by their tactics with that first stone,
Pas de rotation.
Mais elle va aller quand même.
The other option for the
No
US was to
ballet.
just ignore that stone from Switzerland
No ballet,
and
Patrick.
throw a
No
guard.
ballet.
No.
Zero.
You got it, O.
13.
At the beginning of this fifth end, then
Ça
the
pardonne
US
pas, là. Tu fais du tout.
seemed to be happy to keep things quite clean, quite defensive and conservative tactics. But then, as soon as there's a mistake from Switzerland, they can really pounce on it and put another US counter in the house, but far away from the other
A little
one.
bit, yep.
Sorry.
Make it hard for Switzerland to remove both of
Gotta
them.
go.
It's in the house. Gotta go.
Ah, that's good.
It's good. It's fine.
Weight looks good.
Slow
Come
down
on.
a little bit. Easy. Whoa, whoa,
Easy.
whoa. Easy.
12-8.
That's a good one. It'll be in. I think.
Sit, sit,
Maybe.
sit.
It's definitely in, but it's
Sit.
out again. Oh, it is.
All right, next one.
Head.
Pick her up, Dave.
That's a pity.
Pick her up.
But no harm done for the US. They have the last stone in this fifth end, so it's really up to them to decide whether they want to go aggressive in this end or more defensive, more conservative. It could be that the US are happy to be a little bit conservative in this fifth end. We may even see the US decide they want to try to blank this end, so scoring 0. Then to keep last stone advantage for the sixth end. Let's see what happens. So that's fine from Switzerland, but a little bit playing tactically
Ça, c'est du ballet.
into US hands with
Schön ballet.
this sort of strategy.
Yeah.
We got hammer,
Yeah, we got hammer.
right?
Wouldn't be a bad
But we
thing.
got nothing in front of the house.
Oh, we come this way. You have the whole sheet to play on.
Tap it later.
Correct. I don't want nothing in front of the house.
Okay. That's fine.
You got it. 9.
Let's go, Dave.
9.
If you're the team with last stone, then typically you really dictate whether you want to play the end aggressively or defensively. And the US quite happy to be defensive.
Beautiful line.
As the world's most boring tactician, I would do exactly this as well.
Need more of it. Stick around. Need more of it. 8-7.
You got it. Come on, jam on it. Ah. It's all right. Nothing in front of the house. Thank you. It's a little hot.
Nice job, Dave.
Haut de la maison.
Devant la maison.
13,5.
Fairly quiet start to
maison.
the second half of
Pour la
this
maison.
intriguing clash between the US and Switzerland. The US, they still have a chance to qualify for semi-finals. They are on 2 wins out of 6. So they've got certainly some work to do, but if they could win the rest of their games, that would put them up at 6 wins overall out of 10. And that is often enough to be good enough for a semi-final place. The magic number is typically 7. If you win 7 out of your 10 games, that will typically qualify you for semi-finals. It's the top 4 teams who will qualify for semi-finals after the conclusion of the round robin.
Okay.
14-9.
Switzerland no longer able to qualify,
Schöne Garde.
Senegal.
but they still have 3 games left, including this one. And it's always
9.
satisfying to have a strong finish,
Deal.
play nice
Deal.
stones in your final games, and certainly Switzerland can affect other people's tournament. They have 2 games left after this one. So their own tournament will conclude at the round robin stage, but they'll still be definitely playing for national pride and can affect other teams' competitions as well.
And then on the other side.
And on the other side,
Nah,
go,
no,
go, go.
No, you're just going to replace it.
And try to steer it.
7-8.
Steered it.
Okay. I got you.
All right. This
got
time,
you.
for sure.
I got you.
Yeah, I steered it.
That little mistake from the US then, as they said, they just replaced that guard. They with that kind of shot, that's you want to peel the guard. So you want to remove that guard and you want to roll out yourself. Simply hitting the guard on the nose just leaves a different guard. And opportunity here for Switzerland to get a stone hidden in behind it. Start pressuring that last stone advantage from the US that the US has in the 5th end here. But we've seen this too often from Switzerland in this game. That stone does hang on, but it is behind
Okay with
T.
that? Huh? You like it? Yeah, let's do it.
And good to see that the US have, in fact, learned from the first half of the game that it was not helping them having stones out front in the centre when they have last stone. This is kind of uber defensive now, but I'm happy to see that the US have really learned from some strange tactical decisions in the first half of this game. That's exactly it. 8-3. So, yes, there is still a Switzerland stone in the rings there. But the US are already +1. So if the US even just score 1 point here in this 5th end, they will then be +2. And at that point, we're getting towards the conclusion of this game. So that was exactly the right shot for the US. There's still, as you can see, plenty of space. That Swiss stone right at the back of the rings, back of the house. And that's important for the US. The US, they're not in a position where they need to take risks and get lots of points in this end. They just don't want to get into a mess like happened a couple of times in the first half. So important really is just that US keeps that space open for their final throw. Now, this really doesn't make sense. They've just
13.
gone and removed that guard. And that opened things up and kept it nice for them. It doesn't make any sense to now decide, actually, we're going to use that guard.
You got it.
Yeah, 13. Solid 13.
I might take back everything I just said about the US learning from their mistakes in the first half.
Gotta go.
Going.
Stay out there. You got
12-3.
13.
That one is not going to stop, and now Switzerland have a guard out front. Switzerland have a stone in the house, and Switzerland are about to have another stone in behind that guard.
13
And even if that stone had gone perfectly for the US,
that one almost had a hack.
Switzerland could still have played exactly the shot they're going for now, and Switzerland would really be able to try to limit the US with the scoring area. So imagine if the US had managed to get one right on top of the logo, right in the centre. If Switzerland would just follow that, it would be very difficult for the US to score more than one, and the risk is that Switzerland could end up controlling that critical area of the house anyway. And because that stone has even slipped through, if Switzerland play a good shot here, the US could again be looking at a bit of trouble when they have last stone, but there's a bunch of stones in the centre. I think they may get another chance at this, and I wish they would remove that guard out front.
Right here.
Oh,
Or
it's
the
okay.
same shot. Non, t'as craint trop. T'as trop craint.
320.
Yep.
You got it, Skip.
Are we going to bring the ace in or slow it down?
No, I think
3
the
stones to
same
come,
room.
Skip
2
two,
for
it's
the
right there.
US,
Room and 13.
1 for Switzerland.
13 2. 13.
13-5. I don't know.
I think
13-5? That's the fast. Okay.
Yeah.
that one is
13-5.
fast.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. She's warming up. Two rocks down that line.
just throw the ball.
You got it, Matt.
13-5.
We've seen slightly Chrissy-crossy tactics from the US. First of all, being defensive in the end, then switching to aggressive, then defensive, and now aggressive again. So definitely not making life easy for themselves, but probably more entertaining and fun for us to see as viewers.
What you got?
14-2.
14-2.
And again, the risk with that shot, if you don't get it right, you are handing the advantage to Switzerland.
Hey, let me cut those. Wait.
And it's only because Switzerland have been a little bit inconsistent as well that the US are not really being punished for these mistakes. If you're going to go for the riskier shot, if you're going to go for a tactically more difficult shot, then, of course, you have to make it. Both teams struggling more with the weight in this fifth end, either dropping them a bit too short or the stones drifting beyond T-line. So lucky you, US. You still have plenty of space to try to score here. They need a stone fully in the 8 foot, the white ring. Last stone in the fifth end from US skip Matthew Toombs.
Talk to me, peeps.
That's a nice shot, Matt. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
13-5.
This looks like a better
13-4.
effort.
13-5.
Very nice, Skip. One red. Yep, yep. Great
That
job,
is
Matt.
one red for the US.
Very nice.
Yep, good end, guys.
I don't know. I was saying about chirping up because you could see the one in the back. Come down the back to either one of them. You could have came in
And confirmation there, score of 1 to the US. That's all they need really at this point. And they lead Switzerland 5 shots to 3 after 5 ends.
Défensif ou attaque, hein, regarde.
Oui, il faut pas.
Gosh, what an up and down game we're having out there, and I think the accuracy numbers probably reflect that. Still, the US slightly outshooting Switzerland. Switzerland catching up all the time, starting to find their rhythm, but the US still not quite going for the right tactics, but getting away with it so far. We are in end 6 of our featured game between the US and Switzerland.
Easy, easy, easy.
12-5.
Scores are close. Switzerland have last stone advantage here in this 6th end.
Definitely slowing up a little bit.
Huh?
Definitely slowing up a little bit.
Oyuna Oranchime continuing her nice form at lead. She's been setting up the ends pretty nicely for the US and continuing to do that. Patrick de la Cretaz from Switzerland struggling a little bit more to find his weight, but this looks better. He's been overthrowing a lot of his stones in this game so far, but and that's exactly correct. Remember, in the previous end,
you got it. 13.
we were looking for the stones to be just short. We wanted the stones to be protected by that free guard zone, and that's exactly what the weight that he's found now. If that stone had touched the rings, the US could go straight ahead and remove it, but they can't remove it from play because it's in that free guard zone. That's exactly what Switzerland need here.
Hmm?
13-3. Nice weight, oh.
Very nice, oh.
And for once, the US do want to have a bunch of stones in the centre because they don't have last stone.
Plus.
À quelle vitesse?
10.
Oh non.
Un peu pas possible.
Huh?
Patrick de la Cote
14's fine too.
not having his best game out there.
12.
13-5, 13-7.
And that miss has handed a bit of advantage to the US. That stone, again, it doesn't need to be that heavy. The point of that stone wasn't only to remove that US stone. In fact, maybe not even to remove that US stone. The point was to use that US stone, move it behind T-line, and roll behind that guard that he just played.
It's all right, Dave. 12-2.
Stay above the tee. Okay.
That's running on a bit as well, but it has a bit of backing.
All right, next one.
Take a deep breath when you're shooting.
Next one.
Pardon?
13.
13.
Neubühl, pardon me. Now switching up the tactics a little bit. They're only 2 points behind Switzerland, but you do get the feeling that nothing's really working for them. They're having a little bit of a disjointed game out there, Switzerland.
Funny.
Oh, this is coming in hot. I think he asked for a stone that took 13 seconds to go between hog lines, and I think that stone was a bit faster than that.
Yep.
Take it out.
Yep. Go, Dave.
9.
9.
Switzerland, they need stones in play. They need stones at front of house.
Ja, verstanden. 13.
Another guard's not terrible for Switzerland. And they need to concentrate here, Switzerland. They need to have a coherent strategy from first to last stone in the end.
Nice rough.
And they need to understand
Come on, come back.
what's the tolerance for each shot. So
Back. I'm
a
back.
shot through the back, they can't use that anymore.
Right, I like that.
But a stone
Okay, I'm
out
back.
front or a stone in front of house, that's a stone they can still use.
Good job, Dave. Boom.
Same idea here. Switzerland really want to try to bring that corner guard into play, that guard that they threw up with the first stone. Just coming into picture there on the right. That's okay. At least they have now one Swiss counter in there, and it's mostly hidden behind that US stone.
I'll come down to it. Right here. Right here, I would like.
But yeah, it really doesn't
Right
help
in
them that
here,
much.
great.
Got it.
What they were looking for with that stone was the same
12-5.
idea. They wanted to move that
12-5 to 12-7.
US stone ahead of T-line, but roll to our right behind that guard. So Switzerland struggling really to throw 8 out of 8 stones and build an end and really get some offense generated here.
Easy.
Come on, curl for us. Good job.
12-1.
Hard, 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 hard.
Wow.
Little heavy.
Of course, everybody's got their foot on the gas out there.
Yeah.
Take out.
Every stone coming in with a lot of beans.
Let me jam that on the back.
Both third throwers struggling a little bit to find that consistency out there today. And again, it's okay to call a takeout with this for Switzerland, but it doesn't need to be this big weight.
Il est sorti?
It is as important where this yellow ends up
Yeah.
Il va demander
as moving that red, and they've done the same thing again. They are throwing too much weight at these shots, Switzerland.
T'es sorti.
It's okay.
Just
How you
enough
feel
weight
about
to
here?
reach
Yep.
the back line, or
I like that.
well, we
14.
don't have
Probably
hacks
14.
in wheelchair,
You got
but
it.
yeah, enough weight, even just a back line. It was as important for that stone to bounce off that red US stone and bounce to our right behind that guard.
On the stick. Easy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ow, good shot.
13.
13-5.
Keep going.
Well, I got T-line. I got button weight now.
That works. That works.
That'll work too.
That does work.
Take out. Take out.
Yeah, the idea is correct here for Switzerland. But takeout weight,
no, they hit it.
that's one less than peel weight,
You saw that line get past there.
and that's fine if you can control it. But you don't need to throw takeout weight at this. Again, it's as important with this shot where this yellow ends up. You don't just want to remove US stones. That's not really helping you. The US are +2. And it's important that Switzerland starts scoring.
Ça curle trop. Ça revient. Mais quelle
Oh,
chance.
Dieu.
And gosh, the curling gods are being
Ouais,
awfully
lui,
patient with Switzerland out there today.
Voilà, bon, elle a même pas pris.
That just getting a very happy little redirect, that yellow shot. And that has finally found quite a good spot.
Arsenal steals.
There is a gap between the yellow Swiss stone there and the US stone behind it.
15, 16.
But that's not at all a bad place
Yep.
for that Swiss stone. It has a little bit of backing, that
Double guard would be
US
nice,
stone
yeah.
behind it, and that makes it harder for the US to remove. That's exactly what Switzerland were
15.
needing.
15 should do it.
I like it. Good throw.
We are at skip
I'm out.
stones.
Worky work.
Fourth thrower stones at the
work.
sixth
Don't
end
Yeah, finish it.
All right, cool.
of this 8-end game.
Come
We
on.
are deep into
Finish.
the round-robin
14,
stage
finish.
of the wheelchair curling event
Finish.
at Paralympic
14-7.
Games
Good shot.
in Beijing.
Still can see it. There's a port, big port.
Half buried it.
Yeah.
Half buried it.
Yeah, not half.
Il n'y a pas de mort.
Bah oui, il faut taper sur la jaune.
Ah oui.
Non. Bien sur le nez. Non. Ouais. On va essayer comme ça.
D'ailleurs, une nouvelle balai pour un take-out 9.
Bien sur le nez.
Un petit 9. Et ça devrait
Belle sur le
fonctionner.
nez.
Right idea from the US, but not quite the perfect stone placement. There you can see most of, if not all of that yellow. But again, critical for this shot is the angle. You have to make sure you hit the front yellow at exactly the right angle. And if you can control takeout weight, have at it. But it might be a little bit easier to play a more gentle weight at this. Give the stone a chance to curl onto that yellow. That's better.
Ah, ça c'est bon. Il sort pas. Ouais, ça c'est parfait.
9-4.
Ça fait 2.
3.
C'est bien.
That's good from Laurent Knoibul. I would have liked to see even just a little bit less weight on that, and then the stone would have curled just a little bit more. It would have hit it right in the middle, dead on the nose, squirted straight back.
Ça peut sceller.
But actually, that's found a good spot as well. Those stones far apart, no double takeout available for the US. But there is a hit and roll. The US can, with their last stone here in the 6th end, the US would love to remove this Swiss stone and then roll towards the middle. Again, just as important where this red stone now ends up.
Come on. Come on.
First things first, remove the Swiss stone. It does, but it does roll out, and there could even be a shot for 3 here.
No, they said not. They said it's not. No. No, you can see her.
Elle est pas dedans?
Probeer clearing. Hier treffen. Mit 1000 meer. So.
Ouais, là, il faut faire
1000 meer.
un petit...
Wie 1000 meer is er nog?
comment on appelle
Dat is zo. Dat is wel 1000 meer.
pas clearing. Hein.
Ouais, ouais. Je vois très bien le nom. Mais bon, il
c'est quoi le nom?
taper juste pour faire ça.
Moment, Laurent, so. Laurent.
Par rapport au
Splitting, et voilà.
Mais alors, si tu rentres la rouge, là...
1000 meer. 1000 meer 13.
12,5, 13.
Tu fais un splitting?
Essaye.
T'essayes? Ouais.
Oh, mais alors, il n'y a pas assez de glace.
Now, even though
Tu rentres pas la rouge? Non, un
the
splitting.
whole opposite side of the sheet, so the anti-clockwise handle, completely empty. There is loads of space for Switzerland to draw anywhere in the house on the anti-clockwise handle.
Ouais, bah 12,5, ouais.
That yellow, that was the very first stone thrown up by Patrick de Lapletas. It is so close to the rings that if you just touch it a few centimetres, that stone will be in the house. And then if you're smart with your angle, this stone from Laurent Knoibul, it can roll in the house as well. This is called a split. And what a stone this would be in the 6th end.
Ah, s'il y avait les cloches. S'il y avait les cloches, on les entendrait.
Oh,
Non,
wow,
ça
wow,
passe.
wow, wow.
Oh, ouais, bah, vraiment.
Ouais, plus de glace, hein.
11-9.
Oui.
At the very least, you should be getting
Mesure.
2.
Hein?
Mesure.
Mesure, fais mesurer.
Go, guys. Got this.
Stop,
Non, non.
touchez pas la barrière, là.
One yellow.
Before Steve, just go down. Okay.
They want to measure?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hang on.
We already said one.
Yeah, it's scored on the
We
board.
said one yellow.
Ja, ja.
Non, non.
Sorry, sorry.
On
Oh,
va
it's okay.
mesurer, là.
Okay.
Right?
Les mesures.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm
Ja,
wrong.
ja, it's okay. Okay. Yes.
Did you say one yellow?
Ja, ja, ja. It's okay. Ja, ja.
Mais non, essaye de mesurer, quoi.
You
Mesure.
said one yellow, right?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing it right.
Yes,
Okay,
Parce que
thank
des
you.
fois, les autocollants ne sont pas juste mesures racistes.
So what's happened there is
Ah, mais tu devrais la
Switzerland are wondering if that stone's in. It really doesn't look like it from this
okay,
angle.
Gal.
Je sais pas si on
But this is a Paralympic
no.
Winter Games. If there's any doubt, it is correct to measure it.
Faut la mesurer, Laurent.
Allez, go.
Ça coûte rien.
Get a one, get a two, it'd be game's over.
But if you have already agreed with the US, yes, it's one yellow, then
What are they doing? Oh, they're measuring
you've
the
already
biter.
agreed.
It's not.
Fallait mesurer, la pierre.
I don't think Switzerland should feel hard done by with that. I don't think that stone was in.
Oh là 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 là.
Ouais, ça peut toucher.
Having said that,
Allez, Fanny.
there can potentially be a language difference there. Obviously, the Swiss, they're not native English speaking, and they could have understood something different, like maybe, yes, we've agreed it's one yellow. There's our overall game accuracy. Still the US just keeping their noses in front of Switzerland. Switzerland getting better all the time with every end. But the US just doing enough to stay ahead in this game. And after 6 ends, the score is 5 points to 4. US leading Switzerland.
Nous faites c'est combien?
Oh no, leave that glass.
Switzerland maybe finding the conclusion of that 6th end a little bit controversial. They thought maybe there was a second stone in the rings. It would have been a 6-foot measure, so that's the measure that simply tells you, is the stone in the house, yes or no? If the stone touches the 6-foot measure, it's in. If it doesn't touch the 6-foot measure, it's out. From our angle, certainly it did look like it was out. And a couple of the Swiss team maybe feeling a little bit cheesed off about that, but I don't think they should really. I think it was a bit of a reach. They're right to measure it if there's any doubt, but I think it was a bit of a reach. And I think they would have been getting 1 point anyway.
13.
Their bigger problem was that their final stone should have been anyway T weight, so just enough weight for a regular draw. And important was to just catch the angle right and try and split a stone in for 3 points, and that was where they should be frustrated with that end.
Need some legs?
Because if you have the right weight, you should at least be picking up 2 points. And if you get your angle right, then you can pick up 3. So to pick up just 1,
you're on.
That was the problem.
That's a great rock,
A little bit buried in there.
That's a beauty, oh. Let's go.
Une émotion énorme.
And now Switzerland with quite a big job to do now. We're in the 7th end out of 8. The US are 1 shot ahead. And it is the US who have last stone here in the 7th end. If scores are tied after the regulation 8 ends, then we will play an extra end or more if needed. We must have a winner out there.
Rotation field test, Patrick.
Good rotation, hein?
Alors, il faut prendre le chrono. 13, 14, c'est bien.
C'est comme pif.
C'est 13, 4. C'est tip top. Regarde-moi ça, ça c'est beau. Ça c'est beau.
Their shot.
Yeah,
we got it after.
good setup.
Yeah.
From Patrick
We
de la
tap that
Platas. He's struggling a bit with overthrowing a few stones, but
I've kicked the yellow over.
Yeah.
this end is
Going
set up
here.
nicely. He put up that 1 guard first of all,
You
and
can do
then
that, and then clearly after that. Or we
swung
throw
a
the
stone
same
straight
shot,
in
tap
behind
that
it.
red, punch the yellow over maybe, right?
Yeah. Just give me a 13. A solid 13.
13-0.
13.
Same broom, right to the broom. You got it.
Matthew Toombs, US skip, asking for a 13. He means a stone that takes 13 seconds to travel from one hog line to the other. And that has
A
been
little bit wide, maybe.
about T weight. So a stone that will land approximately on the T line.
Come on.
13-1.
13-2.
And just putting his brakes on, but that's nice.
Here you go. There you go. Oh.
Just bumping it forward, just that little tiny bit means that harder for Switzerland to use that yellow they just threw. The angle's just changed a little bit. It's more difficult to punch that yellow further forward towards the centre now.
Non, pas
T-line. T-line. På nærmere så.
Switzerland trying to go around the back of everything. We are in the 7th end here. It is day 5 of the Paralympic Winter Games in Beijing. It is session 13 of the round robin. Very much getting towards the business end of this round robin. The US do still have a chance to qualify for semi-finals. Switzerland, their competition will finish after the round robin, but they can still affect everyone else's results.
What's that gonna do?
Get one right here.
Yeah. I mean, that's where they're going. Beat them there,
That's
Dave.
where they're going.
12-7.
13.
13.
You got it, buddy.
Feel like 12-7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, this is a game that the US, in fact, all of the remaining games the US have, they really have to win to give themselves a chance at qualifying for semi-finals.
Moving a brush on me.
Ooh, that's nice.
So if you're in the 7th end out of 8, and if you are the US,
Easy.
Work.
you're +1 shot, you have last stone advantage.
12-2.
12-4.
Digging. Thank God.
What do you not want to happen?
Fast.
What would be the objective for this end if you are the US? Ideal for the US would be if they would have a blank end, so they would score 0. And then in the 8th and final end, the score would be the same. It would still be 5 shots to 4, and the US would still have last stone. But quite a lot of stones in play at the moment. Not looking very likely for a blank.
Aïe, aïe, aïe. Elle est plus vite, celle-là.
Un petit peu.
So the other possibility for the US
Toi, tout d'un coup, j'augmente.
You got it, buddy.
is
You got it.
if Switzerland got 1 point,
13.
then
Home.
the score would be 5 each, but the US, they would again have last stone advantage in the 8th end, so that's not a bad objective for them for this end either. And even if the US score 1 in this 7th end, that would make the score 6 shots to 4.
I like it, Dave.
Switzerland would have
Work.
last stone in the 8th end, and they would need 2 just to get to an extra end. So
Come on, cut. 13-7.
any of those scenarios should work for the US.
Get in behind there.
All right, well.
Even if Switzerland would somehow get 2 here, it's not the end of the world for the US. They would again have last stone in that 8th
Oh,
end.
that, Dave. I like it. Oui.
T'enlèves la rouge, t'es pas shot, de toute façon. Pas de sens.
The US should be really counting themselves a bit lucky that Switzerland only scored 1 point in that 6th end and not at least 2, and a very possible 3. Otherwise, their situation would be a little bit more precarious now. But as it is, Switzerland just scoring 1 in the 6th end, and that means that it should be advantage US from this point.
Ça devrait jouer, ça. Oui, 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 c'est bon, Hans, c'est bon, ça. Parfait. Tip top.
Got most of it?
Switzerland
Schön,
are
Hans.
now lying 1.
Schön, Fanny.
9.
9. Yeah, we don't need to stick around.
You got it.
No worries.
The US then, they can see most of that Swiss stone just thrown.
Mine's good. Come on.
Stay.
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 Stay. Stay.
Just chip a little bit.
Yeah, don't tip that yellow one, though.
Just catching the edge of that guard, but
Sorry. Just a little bit, Dave. That was a little more broom on that
that's
one.
okay though.
What do you say?
Treize et demi. Oui. Plus. Plus de glace. Plus de glace.
Il semble qu'il avait bien rasé avant. Hein. Moi, je mettrais plus de glace. Hein.
Plus de glace. Plus. Oui.
Il est marrant, hein, c'est parce que quand tu regardes avant que il tire, il n'est pas du tout au balai. Après, il fait un geste comme ça.
Ouais,
et il devient.
Ah, mais là, il est trop court.
Ouais, 14. Oui, bon, ça met une garde à la rouge. Décalé.
Hans was right to ask, could he have more ice? So the wider you start, then the wider, ideally, your stone will finish. And indeed,
9.
his stone there is finished a little bit too close to the centre line. The US can surely still see maybe just over half of that stone in the forefoot.
Yeah.
Where's that going?
Where is that going?
Come on.
I think he popped that wide.
Come on.
It's coming.
And that
Bury
has...
it more.
Oh dear. Yeah, that has a way to come back. And look what's happened to the US.
What is here?
You were right, viewer. The US does have last stone in the seventh end.
Ça, c'est tu l'as pris.
And they are finding themselves looking at a couple of centre guards out front.
13-5, je crois.
And with their way to the centre largely blocked. Now, lucky for them, the US are already plus 1 point. And lucky for them, as we discussed, this is one of those ends where minus 1 point is fine for the US, actually. Therefore, Switzerland.
C'est pas moi qui le joue.
Switzerland would very much like to get a second shot in there.
13-43.
As Switzerland are scoring anyway, then let's try to make it 2.
Non, tu dois tirer un peu plus fort parce que t'es vraiment de côté là.
Ouais, là c'est 12-8, quelque chose comme ça. Non.
Ouais, la première qui a curlé, c'était peut-être.
Ouais, après il a fait 14, voilà celui qui s'est mis devant.
Chance here then for Switzerland to give themselves a bit of a help in the 8th end. Remember, the US don't mind if Switzerland score 1, but yeah, they wouldn't really like it if they scored 2. And Lochon Knoibul definitely been finding his feet more in this game. All of the Swiss team really took a while to settle into this game. They were not very consistent in the first half, but they've definitely played a lot more good shots in the second half. And Switzerland are now currently line 2.
No, you come down, sit right down, and give them 1, and we come home and hammer tied. We're not going to get crazy here. You got it.
12-5, 12.
What did he throw? Oh, reserve.
That was
Send one sideways quick, eh?
12-7.
I'm sorry, you become.
That one was 12-7.
Yeah, that's what I had. That where the broom was?
Why did? They don't have this rotation, also.
Yeah.
You're
Think that a little too much broom? Yeah. 13?
13.
So you can see what, about half of that yellow. There's definitely space to swing a stone round. And you may have heard Steve Empt saying, if Switzerland just score 1, then the scores are all tied and US will have hammer. That's exactly one of the scenarios we discussed. But they don't really want Switzerland to be able to steal 2 points in the 7th end.
Here it comes. Come on, Betsy. Come on, Betsy.
12-8.
12-7.
Come
That
on,
should
Betsy.
be a good one.
Come on.
That's a nice shot, Matt. That's a real nice shot.
Nice.
Very nice.
So now Switzerland have a decision.
Gonna go, Skippy.
I don't know what I did wrong.
As we said, the US, they don't mind really if Switzerland scores 1. But Switzerland would really like to score 2, and looks like they think there could still be a path to sneak in underneath that red. And I don't think that's going to be a second shot in the house. It is not.
Yeah? I was online the first time, right?
Yep. 12, you got it.
Is that the same room or less?
That's less.
Okay.
They may as well have a go at this shot. Nothing really to lose. As we said, one of the scenarios that is fine for the US if
More than the last
Switzerland
one.
scores 1 point, as
What's
they
that?
currently are.
Yeah, definitely more than the last one.
And if somehow they
Yeah,
could
come on,
just
come on, a little more.
catch the edge of the red and pop the yellow out and score 2, that's fine for US as well.
One yellow.
Worth having a go. 1 yellow it
One
is.
yellow, yep.
Right.
All right.
And scores will be tied going into the
One end
8th
game.
end.
One end game.
On a quand même pris. Hein.
So this is almost like an extra end situation, but in the final end, scores are tied after 7. It is 5 shots each between the US and Switzerland.
Well, yeah, we got to
Stay off button.
So we have a very close game on our hands out there. The Swiss have really clawed their way back into this game. They had a bit of trouble at the start, but they've really clawed their way back into this game. The US still making a few tactical mistakes out there, and Switzerland stealing 1 in the 7th to make scores level. 5 shots each going into the 8th and final end.
Sous vitesse.
To some extent, a one-end shootout, as this is tactically nice and easy. Somebody has to score 1. Neither team has to score more than 1.
Ouais.
But both teams have to try to score 1, so it should be advantage to the US because they are the ones with the all-important last stone advantage out there. Switzerland, they will know that.
I don't care, yeah, but
Might be that
And the best way that they can try to get a mistake from the US
13.
is if they use the free guard zone to the maximum
Thank you.
over there.
That's good.
and get a stone right in behind. But that's a nice start from the US.
9 ou 15?
9.
9?
Oui. Ah, regarde. Ah, mais pourquoi il vient de
Alors
dire 9?
pourquoi tu...
Mais pourquoi il dit
Il
9?
n'a pas dit 9.
Moi, j'ai entendu 9.
Ouais.
Moi, j'ai compris 9. Moi, j'ai compris 9.
This is not the best idea for Switzerland.
Ça,
That stone is really an insurance shot for the US. That stone only really likely to come into play if the US hit and rolls out with their very final stone.
il me fait faire une grosse bêtise.
I'm hoping that Switzerland are going nowhere near that US stone. And instead are going to throw up a second guard. They are few. My mistake. And that's making maximum use of that free guard zone. Neither of those yellow stones allowed to be removed from play by the US until we have thrown 5 stones. And Patrick de la Creta's really had a struggle with this game earlier on, but the last couple of ends he set up very nicely. He's had a good strong finish.
Sorry.
That's good weight.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Come on, going high.
Come on.
Come on, going high.
That's good weight.
Come on, it's curling. Here we go. Here we go.
Slow down.
12-4. Sit, 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 sit. Sit. Stick in. Stick in. Okay, nice job, Bo.
Give me a
Let's go,
line.
US. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. Great job.
That's okay for US. Important with the US is that they don't put anything in the centre out front. That can only help Switzerland. So even though that stone ran on a little bit, it is no use to the US out front. The US's ideal situation, they have the final say in this game. They have the last stone advantage in this 8th end. And their ideal situation is if they have a nice clear path to the centre with nothing in the way. And they need to remember that now. They've got a mistake from Switzerland. That's a little half shot from Switzerland.
You need to peel this one.
You do need to peel that one.
Where, though?
I think this is the danger one.
Want to call?
I think the doubles are danger.
How do we peel this one?
I like that one.
Let's call timeout. Let's call timeout. Yeah.
You want to get a timeout, Matt?
I think timeout.
Let's just peel. I don't think we need a timeout on the peel.
Okay. You got it.
What do
The
you want?
question, not really what do we want to do. We want to remove these Swiss guards.
Peel this one.
All right.
You got it, Dave. Right to the broom.
God,
Deep
Dave.
breath. Follow
And
through.
important
5 and
is
3/8.
that
It's coming.
we really peel. That means we really roll our own stone out of play as well.
Good throw. More of it, you're going to roll in.
Come on, walk me.
More of it.
Walk me.
More of it. Jam on that one.
Ah.
No, don't do that. 8.
Nothing wrong with that.
So that has removed
Good job,
one of the
Dave.
Swiss guards, but both sides of the centre line still have a guard in place. I might have preferred, in fact, their original idea to at least clear one side of the sheet.
Immer Timeout nehmen.
Gas.
Immer Timeout nehmen. Hä? Ja, vielleicht fest. Laurent.
Timeout.
Immer das Timeout nehmen. Immer das Timeout nehmen.
I
Of
don't
a
think
timeout.
Switzerland need to have a timeout. Maybe that will make them, give them some reassurance that they're going for the right thing.
C'est le moment de faire un time-out. Il y a 2 dedans.
They're doing the right thing though, Switzerland. They should keep attacking that centre line. They don't need to put a stone in the house yet.
Peut-être pousser une des 2 dedans.
Ben, on a besoin que d'un point. Hein.
Oui, oui, mais il faut pousser une peut-être dedans.
But they will have a 1 minute timeout now. Their coach will come down and offer his advice.
On peut pousser, ça c'est des pierres qu'on
Il
peut
faut les
pousser.
laisser, c'est des gardes qu'il faut garder. Il faut qu'il y ait du trafic devant, il faut surtout pas pousser.
Was wollt ihr?
Ist das am besten hier drauf fließen?
Nein, wieso? Ihr könnt ja reinspielen, oder? Hinter die gelbe Garde.
Wollen wir uns einen Guard machen?
Nein,
Ja.
da kommst du doch rein, oder?
Ja. Immer spielen wir auf.
So.
Ja.
Kommst du nicht rein?
Wohl.
Wieso denn auf den da spielen?
Ja, als Versicherung.
Du, es gibt nur eine Stelle oder nichts.
Ja.
Hä? Also reinspielen.
Ok.
Ja.
On rentre en ligne.
Fanny, Tempo was gut, bisschen mehr Eis, plus de glace.
Plus de glace, ouais.
Même.
Ok.
Ça
Même.
rentre plus là.
Jetzt
Ouais,
müsst ihr...
mais on peut peut-être faire un peu tap back ou bien pas?
Non, non, non.
Même pas jouer
directement,
ça.
directement, directement.
Take out.
Nein.
Mais ça rentre pas là.
Hein?
Ça rentre pas.
Non. Oder gehst du von außen?
Ja, ça rentre pas.
Ja.
Tu rentres pas.
Entweder so oder so, aber wir hinter die Gare.
Ja.
Ich weiß nicht, was es
Oh,
diskutieren
bon.
gibt.
Si tu me donnes la glace, qu'est-ce que tu veux?
Tres. Plus de glace. Plus de glace. Oui.
1 minute timeout is finished. Stefan Pfister, the national coach, correctly pointing out that you just need one shot here. It's one or nothing, he says. Switzerland correct to just keep attacking that centre line. Another guard isn't a terrible idea because that will keep the US busy out front there. At some point, they will have to come into the house, but don't need to just yet. They don't need to worry about takeouts on either of those reds. Neither of those reds were likely to decide the game. If Switzerland get their tactics right and if they throw their stones correctly, neither of those two reds should bother them at all. It is a little bit early to bring a stone into the house.
Yeah.
So that is a nice shot.
You got it, Dave.
One remaining guard is about to go on that side. And now you are going to have to replace that guard perfectly for 4 stones.
Nice throw, Dave.
There you go.
Come on, get a double. Get a double the hard way. Nice shot. 8.
Look at Alan to me.
Oh shit. Garde.
Faut qu'ils mettent une garde maintenant.
No trouble
Oh,
for
elle a serré avant. Elle
Dave
a serré
Samsa
avant.
to remove that guard, and now Switzerland are going to have to replace it perfectly times 4. So Switzerland have a good stone in the 4-foot, the red circle. But they were quite early playing that shot, and now they are going to have to play a perfect guard in front of it until the conclusion of the end, and cross their fingers that the US are not able to get around a guard or play a raised takeout. So this stone running on a little bit. Again, though, better short like that than too long. It does mean that that short stone is now open, but it also means that Switzerland have 2 guards out front. So that was a bit of a mistake, but that was a good mistake.
On the broom. Come on back. Come on.
A little more.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little more.
Little bit.
A little more. Get a roll out of it.
Yep. Fine, that's fine. Good night.
That's fine for the US, but not very far from that red just thrown by the US to get tucked in behind
Nice shot, Steve.
one of those guards close to the centre line. Switzerland can put a lot of pressure on the US here if they get a nice hit and roll. And it seems that they are learning. It looks like they're not going to throw too big of a weight here. Again, it's just as important, if not more so, where this yellow ends up. They don't really need this red to disappear from play. They just need to move it away from the 4-foot, and this yellow has to roll a little bit to our right.
Wow. 12,75. Il fait une promotion. Est-ce que ça sert à rien?
Right idea.
Ouais.
A bit too shy for weight there on the execution. Now, believe it or not, the correct shot for the US is to remove that centre guard.
Go guard. That's why I want to call time. We got 3 minutes left. We're going right.
Guard, and they got that chip there, so.
Huh?
The US have also called a timeout.
Yeah. Good.
Got it started already.
Important part of the game.
Yeah, no, he's pretty.
Can be reassuring just to hear a couple words from the coach.
I think it's a good time to call it.
Yeah. I think we make him throw that tap.
It is the US coach who will now come down
guard here
and discuss the situation.
Guard this
Unless-
draw.
unless-
I think anything in here.
No, your pro side's up top.
Pro side's here. Yes.
I mean, high.
Here to here.
Yeah, because if they go after it, they
Here,
chip out.
actually, right here would be perfect, right?
Yeah, because then they couldn't.
Kind of like one right here. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. I think you definitely want to get a stone in play here. No reason to peel that one's just too dangerous for us right now. So yeah, you come on in. They've got, I mean, you want to take away the draw to the forefoot. I mean, long, short. If you come a little bit deep and you tap that one down, that's okay too. But right there.
Okay.
Show us where you want it, Dak.
Right here.
Right there. Go down and throw that rock down.
Got it.
Okay, put it on there.
Go, guys.
We'll get it, buddy. Good game.
Everyone in agreement on the US team.
That was 14-5, right?
They want to throw another US stone into the house, into,
So it's
sounds like
13-5.
about the 8 foot they're looking for.
13-5.
13-5.
13-5.
I just throw the zones.
Huh?
I don't throw the numbers, so that's good.
Okay, yeah.
Just natural. I mean, the
Top.
ice is good.
Ice is good.
normal, right?
Yeah.
I think the ice is still good.
What's that?
Like a 14.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You got it? Right here?
This stone makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, because we want to make them throw at the outside of it.
You got it.
Yeah, but over curls over.
Top 12.
We've seen the US a couple of times in this game blocking themselves in here on the centre when they have one stone close to the centre already. They seem to get a little bit overexcited and
You're out on it.
try to
Good line.
block that immediately, and you don't have to. Important is the final stone. And thinking of the final stone,
Sit. Sit.
What you got?
I think I would have preferred to see them just remove that guard because
Still good.
now
Yep.
they've got a double guard.
That's a good spot.
Still there.
Good spot. Took that.
I'm not sure I agree that's a good spot. If Switzerland can get around the outside of that,
C'est pas moi.
just about back line
They
weight,
can run from here, but it's
the
hard.
US could find themselves in
They could.
a sticky situation of their own making. They need to be careful with the weight here, Switzerland. They can't throw a big weight at this.
Si ça appuie contre.
Maximum back line.
Enlève. Bon, il reste. C'est bon.
There could even be a direct pass to the centre, just ignoring that red stone.
Tu fais des coups directs, c'est possible.
Half in the red, 4 foot, half in the 8 foot, the white one. There could be a direct path straight to the pin.
Ouais.
T'avais vu quand même le coup là, jaune, devant? Jaune sur rouge là?
Oui.
Ok.
So big chance here for Laurent Knoibühl. He needs to find exactly the right path. Is it round that first guard? It's not, so the guard is going to do its job.
Lock it up, Matt. Lock it up.
Throw the same weight you just did?
Yep. Is he going to club past that guard?
Yellow and I was like,
You got it.
Huh?
yellow.
Tout comme. Pète les oreilles.
The US persisting with their suicidally aggressive tactics.
Same shot. Same
And
shot.
lucky for
Steve, did you
them.
remember the weight? I thought it was a 15, right?
That was 15.
Okay.
Yep.
Switzerland not quite finding a consistent game out there, but
That was perfect.
there are other,
Put us
there are
on
other
two.
teams out there
Yeah.
who
You got it. 15.
could really
15,
punish
sir.
the US for this kind of approach.
Nice throw, nice weight.
Come on. Girl, sometime.
The other side of it. Yeah, there you go, Matt.
14-3.
14-1, that's a beauty, Skip. Great shot.
Good shot. Very nice.
Well, let them
So
pass.
one stone each to come for Switzerland first. Last stone of the game for the US.
Et puis 7 pieds restent encore.
They got to tap the center line, guy.
Yeah,
Puis
center.
arrête, ça regarde.
Pas 36 000 solutions. Moi, j'aurais déjà fait avant.
L'histoire, c'est que c'est moins simple
Merde.
quand c'est pas des pieds directs.
Un bisschen mehr.
It's a little bit more difficult to maneuver around all those stones when you're a
Lui va le
wheelchair
faire,
user.
là. On le connaît. On connaît Laurent, il va le faire.
It can be
Ah,
awkward
c'est la
enough
pierre
when
que je disais avant.
you're not a wheelchair user. But Hans trying to find a good spot for himself there.
Tu es à 10?
Ouais.
Ouais.
C'est beaucoup.
Aiming for that centre yellow.
encore,
He's
encore,
not far
encore,
off. He's not far off. Oh,
Non.
Ouais, c'est trop vite.
18.
what a great try from Switzerland.
Ouais.
It doesn't quite come off, but golly, the US getting away with suicidal tactics
Go
there.
US.
Good game.
It is
We got to go down and get the other dude.
one shot to the US. They don't need to play that final stone.
On va se faire engueuler.
Get the other dude. Don't hit Steve.
Non, non, non.
Great game, guys.
Good fight.
Great
Good
game,
luck,
great game.
Handshakes
Great game.
offered.
Great game. Great game, thank you. Great game.
I called it.
I'll come up top, Dave. Give it to me.
That's exactly what the
Give it
US
to me,
needed.
Good game all around.
They
Good
need
game.
to win the rest of their games, and actually it was a score of 3 to the US.
And I owe you all dinner.
In that 8th end, the US triumphing over Switzerland,
Thank you for picking me up.
8 shots to 5.
You're picking me up.
You picked me up.
Well, that's why that's the team.
That's what it's a team sport, right?
Absolutely.
Fanny,
Non.
la vitesse de sa pierre.
18, je t'ai dit. Ah, peut-être un peu long.
Oh, what I tell you? Tap right back, right through.
That's what he called it. He was going to hit it too hard. Yeah.
Oh, so he got half inch.
Yeah.
Half inch, he was not. Half inch, he was driving right past.
He was hitting it on the red. Yeah.
And then he has wide open there.
Oh, he wasn't doing a tap back, it was a run back.
Oh, the run back?
Oh, that was
okay.
definitely a run back.
Oh, I thought it
That
was
wasn't
a
a tap.
Guard,
Okay, well,
Then
either
he had a
way.
guard, yeah.
Either way.
Good win. Good win. All right, let's get out of here. 1, 2, 3. USA. Thanks, guys.
Hey, no thing. It's team sport,
Hey,
dude.
hey, hey, what do you always say? Don't apologize.
Yeah, stop
Did I
apologizing.
apologize? Did I say?
Yeah, you did.
Did I apologize?
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
So the US still hanging on to a chance at semi-finals. Switzerland, their competition will finish after this round robin, but still a couple of games to mix it up for other people's results.
Confus.
Ah, c'est pas possible, ça. Ça m'a énervé, comme l'autre jour pour le train.
Yeah, let's enjoy it for half an hour and then get ready for Latvia.
There's confirmation of the final score in session 13 here at the Paralympic Winter Games. It is the US team in the mixed wheelchair curling event triumphing over Switzerland. Final score 8-5. And how does that affect the table? We have a very tight table there. So the US, you can see, in 8th place there on 3 wins. If they win, though, their next 3 games, they've played 1 less game than a couple other teams. And if they win their next games, they still have themselves a chance to get to those semi-finals. So the US just outplaying Switzerland, just outfiring them. Tactically a little bit dangerous, living dangerously at times, but getting away with it, getting some misses from Switzerland. And the US, they will be happy to get another win on the board.
Grab that for me. What's up?
So an exciting encounter we've just witnessed between Team USA and Team Switzerland here in the Wheelchair Curling Championship at the Paralympic Winter Games in Beijing. Definitely the USA out of the blocks quicker, a little bit more accurate, outshooting Switzerland. Switzerland finding their form, very much so in the second half of the game. US living dangerously a bit with their tactics, but they will be glad to pull out a win in the end. USA keeping their hopes of semi-final qualification still alive by just a little thin thread.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the results for this session. On sheet A, Sweden 5, Slovakia 6. On sheet B, United States of America 8, Switzerland 5. On sheet C, Norway 4, China, People's Republic of China 7. On sheet D, Canada.
北京2022年冬奥会和冬残奥会组织委员会感谢所有技术官员、工作人员和志愿者们的辛苦付出。
Let's give them a round of applause.